Okay, can you hear me? Well, cool. Let's see if I can. There we go. I am actually hanging out literally in like a little podunk area, like at my work. Well, like I got off work and like yeah. Well, I got off work and my girlfriend went out with some friends after work to ale house. So like I'm doing this while she's over there, and then yeah, yeah. Well, hello. Yeah, right. The last time that we saw each other was when you helped me get my car towed when it broke down about what 2 years ago. Yeah, I'll always remember that. That was that. No, that was the time. God, about a year. Like I got yeah, I got a new car after that, and then well, not new. It was like a hand me down, and then that broke down like a year later. And just doing like because I live so close to where I work now that like it hasn't been a priority, but now it's starting to round around to like becoming a priority again. So yeah,
Let me test some shit.
yeah, of course. I tried to run OBS once way back, and it was
It's a lot.
my computer just couldn't handle it. Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah. Like your computer needs to have some good stuff. I think it's
yeah,
working.
nice.
Like there's a little setting for like double click to change to that scene, and I'm just like, if this does what I want it to, I can go edit the scenes, check on shit, and this will work. Hopefully. Let's see here. Where's
We're getting
John's?
there.
Right.
What's up?
Hold on, let me figure.
Hopefully, just gotta use XSplit. It doesn't work, you know. Yep. I remember the whole yeah. I remember the whole process, and like I think I got a couple of things streamed, but like it was a nightmare. Oh, I believe in you. That's fair. Uh, wearing my Deku shirt, even though I haven't watched the series yet, but we're getting there. Look, I've seen the first couple episodes. It's just every time I started it, I end up on something else for a bit, and then
Okay.
but we're getting there.
Okay. All right. So I can hear you. I just have to figure out how to get this Skype call shit to work.
Mm.
It's
Oh
the
yeah.
only issue I've got.
Mm. Mm. Which means there's probably some random thing or plugin or something that like they're just not telling you about. Hey! Two. I don't know. I know for Twitch it's like some amount of seconds, like 15. Yeah, yeah, but I imagine it's similar.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Right now it's a black screen on YouTube.
Nah, perfect, perfect. Would have audio.
So I think I'm about to just go get like your best image and just put it in the box where you are.
That's fine, honestly.
Where's your best image?
My best image.
Like where's the sexiest photo of you?
I mean, when I see on the screen, it says pretty good right now. Let me see. I don't know. Pull something from Facebook. My Facebook
I'm looking through your
profile
Facebook
picture is fine.
now. We've got you against the brick wall, like looking like you're about to get shot. Um,
Yeah,
it's
there we
you
go.
and you. It's like scared boy in a beanie. All right, let me
That's what I'm going
save
for.
image as scared John C.
Booked. Booked.
So
Perfect. Outside.
productions. Let's go to where's Let me add an esports folder. Okay, let's do profile pics. Alrighty, let me just do that. Yeah, because we're like 1 minute away, so let's just get the simple things out of the way. Um, John's whatever. John's image, whatever.
John Cena.
John C's image. Let's go. It's a great image, I think.
Oh God. I'm nervous.
Okay, so yeah, we need to scroll on over now. Oh, this thing is so
Hmm.
podcast. Let's all right. Let me see if it started streaming 10 minutes ago. To watching. Okay, so I think we're ready to get started here. Yep, there I am editing down. Ah, this thing
Cool.
is so bollocksy. I'm watching myself edit, moving your image around. Okay, so we are live
Enjoy.
here. John, welcome. We're going to.
Hello.
I'm going to be able to enjoy your face, but unfortunately, the audience will never see like your live face on this stream because I can't
It's
figure
okay.
anything out.
It's okay. It's okay. It all begins somewhere, you know?
Well, I've got this much done. I figured out like how to go do the countdown and do a bunch of text stuff. So I'm
Yeah,
pretty happy about that that much.
yeah. I have no idea how to do that shit, so there you go.
I did it about 2 hours ago, and then I woke up at 6, going like, I'm about to hate myself if I don't get enough of this shit together before
Yeah.
like I get into the studio and start figuring it out.
Yeah,
Okay.
that'd be so stressful, I tell you.
Yeah. So So let's go ahead, because I'm gonna add it at the very end of our list of shit to do, like Riot losing its goddamn mind with the 10th anniversary.
My God, man. That was like they just
Shut the fuck up. We're gonna get to it.
oh my God, yeah. Just like busted a load on all of us. It was ridiculous. Like
This is the
big
biggest.
mad,
I swear, this is the biggest thing to happen to the gaming industry in the last 10 years. Like as
honestly.
so like because we both listen. Oh God, that hurts. So we both listen to a lot of like the free range journalism, we'll call it, for like I Will Dominate and Thorin and all them.
Yep.
And so
Yeah, yeah.
Riot is forever like big dick on themselves when it's like you don't define the industry standard fuck ass, but they're about to freaking do it again. Like
Yeah.
I was watching Skara playing the new card game earlier. I'm just like, it looks just like Hearthstone, but it's got all the sort of graphic interface. It's got a different. Like I've played very few card games. Like I did Yu-Gi-Oh when I was a kid, but this one has a different style with like here's who's on the field, and then you get to like send them out or something like that. There's like a resource
Hmm.
mechanic. Like
I wonder if it's like more akin to like Pokemon.
no, I think it has. I think it's several Hearthstone elements in that there's like every round you get an extra resource category. I think if you're maxed out, so like you start building your resources if you don't spend them or something like that. But yeah,
Oh,
so let's go into Worlds. Let's go into Worlds before we jump back on
okay.
over to all the new shit.
Can't talk about arcade and everything. Yeah, we'll get to that.
We'll get to it. Don't worry. It's on the list. It will be had, and unless you run out of time, like let me know when you hit a time limit because yeah, it's today's Wednesday. I can kind of give a shit, and my girlfriend can kind of give a shit, and I don't know everyone's staying over tonight. All right,
Okay.
so the first round robin has ended at. Let me go and bring up League Esports because I will be our entire resource center at this point.
Yeah, it's alright.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. See, if this had gone like my way, I would have just pulled you like literally to my house, and we'd just be sitting like behind me, like all that back there. We'd just be sitting there just chatting the fuck up and having like a
Yeah,
screen like on the corner of the table or something.
we can set that up at some point. Like, actually, like, so because I don't have the car right now, my girlfriend does. Like, I talked to her about it already, and she's cool with like bring me over there sometime. So we
Yeah,
can
yeah,
set that
yeah.
up at some point.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. Well, this weekend's going to be the rest of the group stage. So
Sure.
they're like tomorrow is going to be like they're going to solve where is it? Is that no, that's that. Where's the actual world's freaking standards? Oh,
I think
groups.
they've been
There we go,
starting on
groups.
Saturdays, right?
No, it starts tomorrow. Tomorrow they're gonna take care of Group B. The
Oh,
next, and then they're gonna where's the schedule at?
oh, they're doing the thing
Yeah,
like
they're
they
just gonna
did.
crash
They've done
through
the past couple
everything.
years.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, they're gonna crash everything. So
I don't
like
know.
tomorrow they're gonna
Never
take
know if I
care
like
of.
that or not.
Well, there's a whole bunch of commentary on like how like retarded like Riot is being with its tournament design.
Yeah,
It's like it's
yeah.
been the same design. It's kind of questionable whether or not like it's really deciding who's the best in the tournament format. Like
I mean,
there's a lot of outcry for like the for doing the TI format and like
yeah.
because
Like,
Overwatch did that and it was fantastic.
there's just I mean, we both watch like a lot of Page Check, a lot of like all these content sources. So you and I both know that I'm like quoting arguments that have been made here, but I just agree with them so much that like it's so frustrating how clear it is that Riot's just trying to be the NFL. Like they're just trying to be like
I think it's the funniest
traditional
thing that
sports.
I think it's the funniest thing that a bunch of game developers, so like nerds by trade, are literally emulating like the industry that would like stomp them out in high school.
Yeah, it's a complete lack of like self awareness. It's a complete lack of self worth. It's basically like instead of realizing like, hey, I'm a badass game company that made something awesome that people love, and I'm going to do whatever format works for them that makes them happy. It's hey, I don't actually think much of myself. I'm just trying to impress those jocks back home that made fun of me. Hey, I'm big now. Do you guys think I'm cool yet? Like, and like that's why the always like cower to them, and it's so frustrating because like you and I have both seen like what Irene has had to say about what Riot's attitudes for certain things is, and it's infuriating to see. They literally make the tournaments more sporadic, less competitive on purpose, just to add variety and randomness to it, just so weaker teams have an illegitimate chance at like trying to rise up the ranks and they get like a random bullshit storyline.
Yeah,
Like,
like well,
and
that's sort of the
instead of
situation here with like group. Which group is this with J Team and all them and Gambit? Like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, like Group B. There's a certain amount of like Fun Plus X at least walking in should have like ran them the fuck over by everyone that's what's saying because they're just number one out of China. But like,
yeah.
I will say it's turned out very differently now that we've gone for the first round robin because like J Team surprised, but I think FPX was still warming up.
Mm-hmm.
Gambit hasn't done anything too special, and Splice had like a genius draft that they just got retarded on. Like I'll equate that C9 and Splice have the same exact issue in that they had fantastic drafts. C9 against Griffin and Splice against FPX, and then they just fucked up the execution like in the mid game, and then it just all falls apart. Like they had the game
Yeah.
in the fucking bad, and then they just go to like these ancient tendencies of like forcing Baron in a standard team fight or forcing a fight in a standard team fight way. And it's like that's
Yeah.
no, like you knew your game plan walking in. It's very clear to everyone what your game plan like should be, at least to like the casters. Which by the
Yeah.
way, Jat, Papa Smithy, and Atlas are my new favorite like trio of casters.
Yeah.
Like that exact body. I have never laughed and been so entertained by those because like when I was listening to like Atlas and Jat was like discovering all the freaking the overlay shit for marking on the map. He's like, oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we have these question marks here. Like how he did it was just the funniest, most innocent thing in the world. Like I'm so happy Jat's back.
Yeah, same. Um, those three, I love them. Kobe's always, I've always
Kobe's
liked Kobe a lot
entertaining.
too.
Kobe's
I,
entertaining,
I
but
feel like Kobe
like
bounces off people really well. Like you never want him as like your only color caster, really. But like if
no,
you have another color caster and he's like the middle ground between them and the play by play, like I feel like it works really well.
yeah, yeah. That's the
Um,
casting is actually what I would nerd out more about than League itself because I'm actually I have like the casters are the only reason I've stayed with this game.
Honestly, kind of same. Like it's also so cool saying like I went to MSI in 2015, the one that was in
Yeah,
Tallahassee,
yeah, yeah. You get to meet
and
Frosker and oh bless.
yes, she was so chill.
Oh
Like
yeah,
I
she's
literally,
chill, but she is a gorgeous human being. I'm sorry.
she is absolutely. But it was like she was super chill. She was just down to talk league. Like I literally went up to her and asked her like one on one, well not one on one, but like in person, like, hey, what's going on with this Cho'Gath pick? Like why is it so important? And she basically just laid it out to like, well, he has a free knockup. And like knockups are like really powerful because it was something about like QSS being affordable and or something, and knockups being the one CC that's like hard to deal with, and
Yeah,
like
yeah,
not just
yeah.
something like that. But like she just put it in so plain terms. She knew what she was talking about. So I just hung out with her and Dyrus's dad for like 3 days, and
Nice. Like
it's so funny.
3 days in a row, you just caught up with them and just were just hanging out while the games were
Yeah,
happening.
it's, I was there for like 4 days, and they were there for a bunch of it. The only thing I was sad about was that they said that we were all gonna get drinks after one of the tournament
Yeah, I
nights,
remember you
but
told me that. I remember you
yeah,
told me that, and it didn't happen. And I'm just like,
yeah, so bad. I like waited up for a while.
goddamn liars.
Yeah, but like, it's so cool to see how like she came up through the ranks as just this person who was on China Talk
Hmm.
and was just like really really hype about China and like the crazy aggression, and then like seeing her get into the mainstream League community and just the abject hatred she had to deal with, and she still deals with,
Oh yeah.
but she's gone through so much, and like she's earned every spot of like where she is now, and I think she's one of the most intelligent color casters out there. Like I put her on Jat level like easily. Like
Oh yeah, she's top tier. Like my dream cast before I discovered like Papa with Jat and Atlas, just because their chemistry was so hilarious. But like my dream cast would have been like Rivington with Jat and Froskurin.
mm,
Because like like we're gonna nerd out on casters here now because it's actually like the spoken word in that art form is like my biggest passion actually, and
mm,
Jat has without a doubt the absolute best like narration voice and the best little things that like help create hype. Like Azael is a nice guy. He does his job well, but there's something about Azael that just doesn't make him likable in my viewpoint as a caster because he always seems very feeble or something like that because
yeah,
like like I think a freak as a play-by-play and I think he does the job, but if we're gonna like do rankings, he's near the bottom of all the play-by-plays because Freak probably should have been an analyst, like a color caster, but he
mm,
ended up being play-by-play because of just how things were back in like season 2 and season 1. So he just had to take that role, and he's just had to stick with it. And like the problem that Freak has that Azale may share is that they say they don't use the English language in a way that lets it be definitive. Like they leave open statements, or they
mm,
say too generic of things, while like Jat will be indeterminate in silly ways, like when they're just bantering. But when
yeah,
he's saying things about how the game is going, or how the even if he's doing like a touch of play by play, it there is no maybe or I don't knows sort of thrown in. Like there's nothing about him that makes you waver in confidence in what he has to say. How Freak and Azale talk makes you waver in confidence about what they're talking about. And they can be absolutely right. Like they're entrenched in it. I have not done any amount of casting actually, and so I know it's like a hard, full task to do and craft. But
yeah.
that
I
is
think we
what.
both respect it a lot.
Oh yeah, definitely for just how long they've been at it, especially with making huge transitions in their careers and dealing with so much. They have to deal with the community, like which is its own goddamn monstrosity. So like, but that's sort of my that's what I care about commentating on more than us is just like very good performance art. Okay.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I won't ramble too much on it. I appreciate that you also like have so much appreciation for it, and I do agree there is such an art that goes into it. I think specifically the thing that hurts Azale is just like there's probably a lot more to it, but like one specific thing is he doesn't have control of his own inflection the way that Chad does.
Yeah.
He very very often ends his sentences like this, and even though he's making a strong
Yes.
point, you don't really know. So that
Yeah.
goes into
It,
what you're
it
saying.
it's like a trailing thought.
Yeah,
Like it
and actually,
doesn't
like
punctuate it.
it's funny. Very, yeah, very well put there. Like the very first time, because like my girlfriend's chill with me watching League, and so she'll just be there just when I'm watching it, and like
Mm.
the very first thing she noticed was when Azale was casting, she was like, "Oh, he like ends every single sentence like on an upper swing," um, and then Freak. I think Freak has it's come out more this tournament. I don't know if it's like an overarching thing, but like he
He has a
gets like really
he has a
overhyped about moments that are not
he has
equal to the
a
amount of hype he
he
wants
has
to
a hyped
produce.
he has a hyped monotone that has a touch of panic in it.
Yeah, that's actually really accurate. But it was such a difference because I watched one game with Freak and then immediately watched one with Quickshot, and I really had to get my head off to Quickshot because he's really improved. Um, but Quickshot, I can't believe I'm praising Quickshot because I used to not be able to stand the guy. Um,
You can't stand
he does a
Quickshot?
great, I used to not be able to. Now
Oh,
he's
okay.
gotten so much better.
Okay,
Um,
okay, okay.
but but he does a great job of understanding the context of whatever moments. Like if it's J Team versus Splice round one in the round robin, and someone just gets a kill, he's not screaming at the top of his lungs the way that Freak does. Like he's just
Yeah.
like, oh wow, and then a kill happens, and then this happened, and then maybe if some crazy outplay happens, he's like, whoa, and then that happened. But like Freak literally is like DEFCON zero, like top of his
He's def
lungs for like
ever
first blood.
well
Like
the only thing he's def like he'll defcon 0 on wards when like it's the ward kill cheers happening or something. Like
yeah,
Freak has this unfortunate thing where he's always hitting like this peak voice, and I think it's his caster voice, and he's always got this monotone high authority voice, and I think it comes from like it's the kind of sound that makes you think he has confidence issues, and I don't know if he does,
yeah.
but
Honestly,
yeah,
I think he's yeah. We can get I could talk for hours with you about like the weird archetypes and
the
psychological intersections of the
psychological
team and
yeah
everything.
exactly like I'll say the only reason I started watching Face Check was actually because Zyrene was there, and I've just loved that man, and I'm so sad that like
Yeah,
I never saw him, and I didn't watch the play-ins last year where he was that's the only thing he casted till he left. And so like finally having him back in some form outside of like because I don't watch his streams, like I have him and I'm on his
same.
Discord, I follow him like on Twitch, but like I don't watch streams. I watch like I'm all about VODs, so like I'll go find VODs, but I need to have something
Yeah,
that's like worth watching. Like when
uh,
Like Jane is a Overwatch coach, and so I watched hours and hours of his stream like on VOD, like on past broadcasts, because he was doing all these VOD reviews and all these coachings that were just so educational for like learning how to play Overwatch like on a higher level.
we need more people like that just everywhere because like you know what I'm gonna go into a tangent real quick, but like you know who I miss
Mm?
the OG Night Blue when he was actually good at the game and he was actually incredibly informational in the jungle because like I used to main jungle and he was this random guy who was like top 3 and like had 2 accounts in like the top 15 and he was using these strats that nobody else was using and he was really strong in like assassin junglers like and he would explain everything he was doing and he was so good and
Yeah.
it was just very plain like what he was doing you could follow it very easily and then he just completely like his mind just fell apart and he started hating the game and then now he just trolls um, but like we need more people like that like
Was it
I
Night
don't
Blue
watch
versus Dominate?
yeah Night
Is it
Blue and Dominate hate each other
Okay, yeah, but the only thing they agreed on was was like when Matt Morello just or whatnot pulled out his bullshit recently. Yeah,
yeah
I think there's just the unfortunate thing about Riot and League is that, and especially being able to see a comparison now with like another top tier pro game with Overwatch, is that how the parent company treats its content creators and the community and how it sort of solves toxicity or corrosiveness, as some people might call it, sort of dictates the ability for the content creators and thus the community to be additive to the entire game's culture and experience. Like
yeah
Jane was able to thrive very positively because it's a pretty healthy environment, all things considered,
mm,
in Overwatch. And League is just constantly fighting itself in its full
yeah
culture to even be
well
educational, to be able to grow or be better.
yeah
And
it's I mean it's their pride like it's a double-edged sword because like it's like what Lorenzo was talking about like you kind of have to have an ego sometimes to be able to put your own product forward and to like have the confidence to try to disrupt the field and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then the other side of that is that they have such an absurd pride and almost like uh, possessiveness over like any content that's created through
Well,
Riot
actually,
because
so I there's this guy I watch because he does a design review. He does a lot
okay,
of stuff for Dark Souls, but he also does it for League. His name is
okay.
TB. He's TB Skyn on YouTube. He has
Oh
a
yeah, yeah, yeah. I've watched him for years.
yeah. I discovered him when he did his review of the cinematic where it had like Draven versus Riven and Jin versus Camille.
Oh, Awaken. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he did like a freaking 2 hour or something like that review of the entire video, just nerding out about it like left and right. And like
Dang.
I've found I love like I don't care I may not be into actually doing design, but like him and this other guy called like the Closer Look who does script writing reviews and stuff like that. Like he did a recent thing where he he basically explained how to ruin how in game teaches you how to ruin a climax, and he ran a comparison of that final big battle between Thanos and the Avengers, and then compared it to
Mm,
Helm's Deep, and how the MCU basically ruined that climax more or less because there
mm,
wasn't an exactly back and forth in the fight. Like there wasn't actually any tension building and relief, like you would think about in Helm's Deep with Lord of the Rings.
yeah.
Like there's two very different things. That's what makes Helm's Deep one of the most memorable fights and battles. And Endgame's final battle is kind of it's there. There's a whole like catch me if you
Yeah.
can, and then you're off and running. So like getting back to the point is that like Riot, as TB Skyn pointed out when he was talking about I believe that art volume, as well as like going into this Versace thing, is that Riot has a very in-house strategy, and that's why like they just don't get help from anywhere else, and they're so like tight-minded on how they run shit that it leaves things choked, and it doesn't they put themselves in their own echo chamber, and it has produced some really high quality things like Mech versus Minions, which Magikarp Use Fly has highlighted as a fantastic board game. The art volume that TB Skyn has like raved about, this book that they're about to release that may be fantastic,
Mm,
and certain things that other things that have been highlighted. So like Riot has this fantastic thing where they do put out very high quality things when it's reached like their caliber of what they're looking for, but it's
yeah.
also led to like what they've done to their entire community and culture. Like they're
Yeah.
so in their own box that they refuse to adequately and fairly engage with plebs, with content creators, with like the base of the world.
Yeah. I and like that's I can completely understand that. And I think you're totally right. It's a very controlling look, but at the same time, like they do produce that good content. I've even seen people at my work kind of like embrace certain projects that same way, and I've acted that way too, to where
Yeah.
it's essentially like you put so much work into your product, you believe in your product so much, and you put so much thought into your product too that
Uh-huh.
you basically
You
you
sort of end up
have to
isolating
respect.
yourself.
Well, like yeah, that and like you have to respect someone in order for you to like
Take what they have to
actually
say
want.
seriously.
Yeah, exactly. And if you don't have that respect for them, then there's no chance for them to work with you,
Yeah.
and it leads you down a pretty egotistical path, which you can create one thing, but it's ultimately not going to last because we ultimately do all need each other. So,
Yeah, yeah, we're social
we,
animals, and there's no denying that outside of like
yeah,
outliers. That's the funny thing is that you sit there and talk about respecting other people, and I'm like laughing in my head because of just like Riot's ability to respect its own employees.
yeah,
So like when you have that slight reveal of like, oh, you have a very horrible like culture in there that has respect issues with like the opposite sex and frankly with each other. Like it may be highlighted on this
shocking news.
well, big whoop, oh my. But like
Yeah,
when you have that respect issue, as one would have, as you clearly explain, it explains why they have a inability to properly engage with teams and how to help solve those issues back before franchising, how to deal with pro players and their struggles and trying to have good practice and being
mhm,
toxic. And then you have content creators that are just they love the game and they love everything about it, but it's like I love League, but I hate Riot. Like that's a
Yeah.
deadly combination.
Mhm.
So if we can both now try, let's go on over to
Oh yeah, let's actually talk about that
let's
next
let's
time.
talk about the worlds and group stage and where we're actually at. So let's go ahead and jump on over to Group A. Right now, the
Yep.
standing on Group A is G2 is at 3 wins. They and SKT are the only ones that are without
Right.
loss, 3-0s right now. Griffin is 2-1 after beating Cloud9 yesterday in that ridiculous fucking match. It's like Garen Yumi versus Tom Sona, who's gonna win this fucker, and
Right.
it's apparently it's spin to win.
I okay. I gotta say, just as a quick aside, I don't. So when people run Garen Yumi, like you see the way that. Here, let me pull up my notes real quick. But like SKT clearly had a plan for it. That's why they let it through. Like they didn't just sit there going like, "Oh, Garen Yumi. I guess we'll just treat it like a standard bot lane and just like randomly sort of engage on it." Like every other team I've seen has allowed the Garen Yumi through, and then in the mid game they just engage on Garen as if they don't know how the champion works with Yumi, and then they're using all their cooldowns and losing like 4 or 5 team fights in a row. Like we saw that with like multiple games at the end of the weekend, and I
Mhm.
don't understand how like if you're not gonna scout it, ban it, and if you're not like I don't know, it shows me such a lack of preparation. I feel like
How
well,
did
G
how
two
did
it's
SK so like let's go back to
yeah.
how did SKT how did other teams beat the Garen Yumi combo outside
Okay.
of banning it, of
So,
course.
okay, so let me take a quick run through this because I just did like a deep dive essentially through. Um, okay, so SKT obviously have a unique asset in Faker, and that if you give him someone that can actually create pressure, he will absolutely dominate the map. And like a
Mhm.
big thing behind SKT is that like if there's no one else in SKT that's an actual reliable carry threat, they look so much worse because the team can just crunch down upon him. And
Mhm.
then when he tries to create this pressure, he gets punished super hard because he is sometimes a greedy player. He's not terrible with it, and he's typically smart with it, but he will agree just a little bit just to create some pressure.
Yeah.
So an SKT with actual carry threats like a Khan, like a Teddy, is terrifying because then Faker can actually do things, right?
Yeah.
Faker's Tristana was absolutely monstrous this game. Any single time, and the Caster's point was that as well, any single time that the jungler was visible and not near him and not about to kill Faker, he was jumping onto Nemesis. Like he was
Yeah.
jumping onto that rise, like he was engaging as much as possible. And even when
Yeah, because
he would like
Tristana has that sort of free trade pattern where she just throws
yeah,
the bomb on you, like
press the
she'll
attack
she'll double
trigger.
she'll double what she jumps on you, throws the bomb on you, gets the full proc off, and then jumps away.
Yep. Yeah,
Like
it's disgusting.
it's like you
And
have
he
to just lock her down and just throw your trade in before she jumps away, basically, if you're gonna try to even out
yeah,
that trade.
yeah, for sure. And he specifically went work on her to help sort of compensate for um, everyone else's like power chop in one item spikes, so
Hmm.
that they could get to the two item spikes. On top of that, they picked a so they basically got the power pick of Kale. As a counter to the Garen Yumi, saying that like, okay, if you're gonna go with this weird sort of like lane that's just trying to become free, like we're just gonna get a free lane as well. So they
Hmm.
basically used Faker's pressure mid lane and one item power spike to get to Kale's two item power spike to get to a hyper scaling late game where you have two marksmen with sustained damage that can knock the shit out of Garen. All
Yeah.
these other teams are trying to run these like cheese comps with like non marksman bot laners, and then Garen and Yumi, like that's almost why it exists at this point because like if you have a Syndra in your bot lane and you don't have anyone with sustained damage, like you can't do shit against Garen Yumi.
Yeah.
Um,
What do they have drafted? Okay, so I pulled up the game. I wish they actually
yeah,
had better.
so
They had a
they
yeah. So the lineup here just to help paint it. Fnatic had Whippo on Gangplank. Broxa had
yep,
Rek'Sai,
yep,
Nemesis on Rise, Reckless on Garen, and Hylissang on Yumi. The counter, or at least what SKT banned was Khan had Akali, so able to pretty much eventually kill Whippo if how
yep.
that goes.
And he was an absolute monster in team fights on that. Like we can't understand that because Fnatic had moments where they really fought back really hard, and
Mhm.
Khan salvaged a lot of those bad situations.
Yeah, yeah. Clit on the Lee Sin, Faker of course on the Tristana, but Teddy on the KL and Effort on the Nautilus. So like, if I'm gonna run a quick analysis of this, there is no significant tank line here. but there
Mhm.
is an incredible amount of damage that nothing could out heal. Like you would need a
Yep.
Taric engagement to beat this comp
Yeah.
by like just
And
guess. Yeah.
essentially, like, because they have like, so they have a sort of like half tank and Lee Sin, and Nautilus just with aftershock is tanky basically until the like mid game.
Yeah, like
Um,
he's
you
a
just
tank
run it
that
with
he's a tank
ability.
that auto attacks and then dies 3 seconds later. Like
Yep, basically. But like, yeah, but like Kale procs that invulnerability, so you stall that out. Like Akali stalls a lot in like certain team fights.
hmm
So it's almost like you're creating tankiness out of thin air, just because you have so many stalling mechanisms that
yeah,
work
yeah, yeah,
essentially the
yeah.
same as like having stats. Um, so I don't know. It's basically SKT used sustained damage and punished Fnatic for what their comp does not punish. Basically saying that if you're going to allow us a free lane because Garen and Yumi doesn't
In a,
really do anything
yeah,
into like an actual marksman lane, we're
yeah,
just going to take Kale and we're going to use Faker's pressure to get Kale and Triss to a point where you can't do anything.
yeah.
Um,
Well,
and it's
Rise is a pretty uninteractive lane as well
yeah,
because he's another
yeah,
scaling pick. So like the thing with sort of the solo lanes of Fnatic is that they have a Rise and a Gangplank, which are by definition scaling picks, or at least per
yeah,
se scaling picks. Like they'll lose certain matchups. Like the Gangplank would lose the Akali matchup more than likely, because the barrel chain is the best thing you got, but that's such a high demand outplay that it's kind of way easier execution to like destroy the Gangplank for the Akali than the other way around.
yeah.
So like
Yeah, for sure. Whereas like Okali, you can just kind of get in there. Like you still have to mechanically outplay, but like you press R on someone and that's the half their health.
yeah, yeah,
uh, but yeah, like basically SKT like dared them and said like, I bet our solo laners can out carry, or like I bet our hyper carries can out carry your hyper carries late game, and like they won that. And SKT can stand at any team and say that other than like a G2 or something, which I wouldn't say they flat out lose to, but it's like it's much more 50-50 there. And like I don't know, that flexibility, like teams with solo carries are I don't think going to make it in this world or this meta, um, which is why you see which is why I don't think Fun Plus is going to do well, even if they start to roll around, or like if they start to come around, because they like to stack a bunch of tanks and then have only LWX with their damage. But sorry, I know that's another group, but like these, I think a team like the reason why we see SKT, why we see G2, why we see IG like kind of coming into power and stuff like that, even though they lost the game, is they just have multiple carry threats.
yeah.
And with
Well, they choose to
when you
actually
look
accept the
at like
meta.
all the like most common picks and drafts, like um, it's Flex City everywhere.
Yeah,
Like you literally like I've been looking like I've been trying to mark down like which roles have been picked in certain spots and stuff like that, and I literally had to put down like Flex top mid AD on like 2 or 3 picks like almost every single game.
yeah,
Um, and if you can't do that, then you're just automatically at a disadvantage,
yeah.
and it would take something massive to sort of make that up.
Yeah. Well, that's where like right now tanks are dead, and Garen's like the only exception because of how his kit enables the pokey Yumi like strategy.
Yeah.
Um,
Also, I just hate it. So this thing that's so stupid. A champion is so
it's one of those things where Riot is now creating champions that are just gonna be forever viable because their kit is so broken naturally that like they have to uninstall the character via patch
yeah.
more or less.
That's such a good way to put it.
Like they have to Olaf Yumi if they're gonna like get this character at like a 50% win rate.
Yeah.
So,
So
the other part of Group A was that Cloud9 is at 1 and 2, and in Hong Kong Attitude is 0 and 3.
okay.
HK is kind of out of it. The only thing that was sort of interesting is that they were getting G2 for a while, but I think that's just because G2 was like fucking around for too much. And what
Mm.
I really appreciated out of that is that within about 5 minutes, G2 calmed down, got back to basics, and then just decided to win. Like it was some like it's like classic SKT practically, where it's just high
Yeah.
discipline execution on fundamental things with vision control and lane control, and then they just take
Mm.
Baron. Like they just walk over, take Baron end game. Like it's just so ridiculous to me that
Yep.
like G2 is just at that level to where like they understand how much chaos they can throw in early on and know when to call and say, hey, we're inting, and then just go back to basics and win on standard movement, standard map play, and standard vision control. Like,
Yep.
that's just so. It just makes me so pissed about NA, and also pissed that like Bjergsen is staying in NA a little bit.
Yeah, I really
And that's a
think he
whole
should have gone
nother
that senior
that's
route.
a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
But that's just what makes me so pissed is that like it always goes back to in my mind like the commitment of the people to become the best. And like after I think Perks, so last year, if you saw those interviews after Perks like helped carry his team through like semis,
And he really did.
and he did. Like he like Jab was doing the numbers then. He's like he did more work, more damage per minute, more any everything than Faker did like in one of the peak like season 3, season 4 areas.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
Perks on Irelia did so goddamn much. And he's in post interview like with Avali just he looks like he was having on like some drug trip. Like he just played out of his literal mind and he just fried himself practically. Like he like that's where I think that's why the IG game that they had was so shit more or less because Perks fried and like
he
the
had like
rest
used up everything to get there.
he used everything he could. And now
Mm.
like he's gone into retirement like into ADC, which I'm just fucking around on that one. Um
But it ends up working right now because of how the meadows worked out. But yeah,
well, I
it's
think he just like had a meeting with God or something like that, like in his dreams, and now it's just sort of come around where he like goes to Carlos and he's like, "Get us caps. I'll go to ADC role, and we're gonna win worlds."
yeah.
Like that's
Also, like what sort of crazy that's such a that's such a crazy foresight, such a crazy like confidence move, and that like it's really not arrogance. It's Perch
oh
realizes
no,
how
it's
good
out.
he is, but he also
It's
can 100% say like this guy would be a better pick than me at mid. Put him at mid. I'm still really good. I'm still going to be in the team, but put him at mid. He's better than me. Like
yeah,
that's crazy. Like how
yeah.
can you? That's so rare to see someone like call themselves out like that. Like you wouldn't like
Well, all this is just like a
Double
desire to
F
be the
is like one
best.
of my favorites, but like you would not see Double F say
No,
like put him on 80 carry.
this
I'm
is
gonna do something else. I'll
where
be a support, something like that.
no,
Like
no, this is where, and like, so I agree with Monty on, I agree with the idea of having a stabilized video game that lets people have like their specializations, like ADC and the traditional range marksman.
same.
But there's something to where like allowing the fluctuation that we're in now to allow for either ADCs or mages bot, I think is a really good place for the game because like this is where like the comparison between Perks and Doublelift is that Perks will do whatever it takes to win and makes Doublelift look like a bitch because like Doublelift couldn't do mages.
Yeah, it's just not at
Like
all.
he's done the same thing his whole career. He's very very good at it. He's the top ADC in an A. He's one of the top
Yeah,
like ADCs in the world. He should have been on the top 20 list for a lot of
yeah,
these
easily.
should have been. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, like he either doesn't have the skill set or there's something in his
No,
mentality.
he thinks it's beneath him. Like he thinks it's beneath the game.
Yeah, and
He's
that's just
100% just waiting for it to be over.
yeah, and
Like
that's just too pride.
it's
That's just too much pride. I'm sorry,
yeah,
but like you're literally having a mid laner change over to ADC, which is one of the highest demanding positions in the entire game. Like the level of execution as an ADC is insane for just maximizing your range, avoiding everything that's going to try to kill you because you're
lane
everything to the
manipulation, everything in lane. Yeah,
everything.
absolutely.
And like the IQ of G2 as a collective once Caps comes mid and Perks comes bot and Perks just learns the role, becomes one of the best at it in the world. I like
Absolutely crazy.
it's one of those where you have to look at you want to be able to look at Peter Doublelift just be like, dude, you have like there's something where he's overhyped like everything about how he plays and how he exists in the competitive scene instead of just bringing it down to a very basic I'm going to be the best in the world and like
Mhm.
and not make any excuses, not have anything to say. And he like doesn't make
Yep.
excuses, but there's something about like this subtle mentality difference and how like Doublelift versus Perks.
Yeah, there's Double Lift has a certain level of cop out at the very, very top tier of competition. Like he will do everything to make sure that he wins NA. He will do everything to
But that's
make
not even
sure
like
that
that's not a big thing on the grocery list anymore.
I know, but like basically at the very I believe this, but like at the very, 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 very top. Thorin called this out in like one I think it was like a listen loco he had with Double Lift where he said like I think when it gets to a certain point, when it gets to a player that you actually respect, you almost like feel like you should lose to them. And I feel like that says to me that Doublelift believes in himself 99.3%.
Yeah.
And then the last little bit is him saying, like, you know what, I will never beat them, so why should I try? I'm just gonna like continually beat all these people beneath me,
Well,
continually be one of the best. But to be honest, I don't think I can actually beat these people.
well, there was
And even if no, go ahead, sorry.
yeah, there. Well, I think I remember the slight point that you're talking about that Thorin made, in terms of a mindset. Like, there's someone he had an example of an ADC, like, and just was talking about like how like when perhaps it's Perks, but like
I
when
think
Perks goes and versus Uzi, like nameplates are off in a way, and how Perks
yeah,
like treats it. But when Doublelift or even Reckless, it seems, versus Uzi,
yeah,
they just psych themselves out. Like they
yeah,
ruin their own ability to play even at their normal standard, and it's the too much respect issue, and they
yeah.
end up underperforming. And
Well, it's a lack of like somewhere in the core they just really don't believe that they can or should or don't deserve to beat Uzi. Um, they've deified him in their head. They've idealized him because like it's all a little bit of a cop out. It's okay. Well, you know what? I'm not gonna look at my footage with Uzi, analyze every mistake, and like try to get better at that, and like sit there to myself and say, hey, I will beat Uzi. It's Uzi. I can't beat him anyway. So you know what? Haha, I lost. Like that's Uzi. Like whereas Perks, like you are absolutely right in that he's just like I will beat anyone. I don't give a fuck what it is. I don't give a
yeah,
fuck how it is. Like it's like
that's where you gotta respect that that East Europe mentality, like
yeah,
forgiven and Perks and stuff. Like they just don't give a fuck.
yeah, I really don't. Yeah.
So.
Okay, cool. So getting back to the
So
group.
Group A. So I think so. Let's do this because how do we think? Because HK is not going to make it. If they get a one-off win, that'd be a great upset for the group. Like they almost did it for G2, like kind of, but like
So it's really between C9 and Griffin, right? Because G2 is
it really
clearly winning.
is. Yeah, it is. And
um,
I think this. So here's what my theory is for Cloud9 is that
okay,
Reaper, because he's been throwing in Blabber for these first three games,
right.
and they've only gotten like the one win against HKA, so like
Nine
big fucking whoop.
games.
Well, so like everyone's sort of raging about where the fuck is Svenskeren. I think what like Reaper is doing is that for the rest of the round robin, when there's that one whole day of just doing the whole round robin again, Svenskeren's gonna play all three,
Probably.
and like I don't think I definitely should not get in. I don't want definitely in. Like as much as Sneaky has been
No, just
underperforming all year, I want Sneaky
yeah,
there.
definitely can be next year.
Yeah,
Yeah. So keep Sneaky as like a just the veteran player who will close out his last like good competent ish year.
yeah. Because
Even though he's been kind of liability, but
I
like
am
just
positive on Deathly in the future. I am very positive on Deathly in the
yeah,
future, especially now that
same.
he's like in Cloud9, which is one of the healthiest organizations like in all of esports, frankly. Like it doesn't
Yeah,
surprise me
seems
that
like it.
Cloud9's Overwatch team won the Overwatch League last year. So
Oh
like
damn.
so my thought wave, and this is like my favorite little narrative to think about right now with how this group is going. Because like even LS I believe was saying that like Griffin should lose to Cloud9, and all we've been seeing that Cloud9's been failing at is sort of their mid late game shot calling, which would come from Svenskeren because Blabber's in instead. So
And Blabber's always been bad at that.
I sincerely believe that if it's Svenskeren in instead of Blabber against Griffin, they win that match and they don't miss execute on their split push strategy.
Interesting.
I
I could see that.
like
Spenskaren's a much more balanced, much more like level-headed player.
yeah, he's much more level headed. He's been like the thing that I always sort of think about is like where have they come from and what should they have learned in their stead, like since they've been like since
Mm.
Fair and Scaren was playing with Forgiven way back in the fucking day. So and Svenskeren
Copenhagen
went through yeah
Wolves.
like well Svenskeren went through like that shit. He went through all of Europe and all. He went over to TSM, had like one of the best TSM iterations we've
Yeah.
ever seen.
Wait, didn't Svenskeren also play with? Did he play with Ocelot on SK, or was that after Ocelot
Might
left?
have. I do not follow Europe much enough.
Sorry, that's right on
I
the
barely
side.
have enough time for NA. Like
I
I'm
feel you.
really my dream job is to not have my normal 9 to 5 and just watch all the league stuff and
Me
all
too.
the Overwatch stuff and like stream my video games and have my let's plays, like just have my whole media production company about all the fun shit I want to do, and then go out to like my freaking workshop where I do metalwork in like freaking carpentry work and have cameras there and just like stay mute and just craft shit. Um,
Aw,
like,
damn.
let me show you what I did. Actually, let me grab the other thing too. I'll be right back.
Okay, got it, problem.
Like my little dream thing to do is to actually like I made this from just a piece of
Okay,
metal.
I will say I can't currently see your screen.
Oh, you can't? Oh, let me share
Um,
that. Okay, that would help. Is it gonna work? Okay, so right now my camera is locked into
that's you know
I
what? You
think
can message
OBS.
it to me.
Yeah. So let me just take a picture of the two things, and then I'll
Okay.
just send them to you. Where's my phone? Where's my phone? But that's sort of like my dream scenario is that like me and Melanie move out to Austin, eventually get 5 acres, build a bunch of shit on it, and then invite all of our friends to move out to Austin too, and then we just all work out of my studio doing whatever the fuck we
Oh
want to
my
do.
god, dude! Like, you know, so like Lauren is the big like builder between us, but
Mm-hmm.
I've like been following along with her. Like for our anniversary, like I bought her power tools, and then we made like the desk that I have in my room right now. Like we got two
So like
long like
let me send you
oh
my
damn, what the hell?
yeah, and this is gonna be the best picture I get for my girlfriend's setup. So like I'm sorry, stream, that you're not gonna be able to see any of these things. Um, I think I could figure out how to put them up actually, but I'll worry about that later. Um, so
Oh
like,
damn.
so for the first picture, let me go ahead and actually I'm gonna figure that out real quick. So let me go ahead and download those. Save image as yeah. Let's just do handmaids, and then Mel's desk. So let's add in image, whatever, image one. I'm just gonna throw them on the screen. So the first image we can go on is, where are you? Image one. There it is. So bring this center screen. So what we're having right here, I made the one on the right first, the hatchet first, but that's literally me taking like a random bar, like a random thing of metal, and just putting chalk to it, solder or plasma cutting it out, and then grinding it down to what it is, and then just powder coating it and burning the powder coat so it's black instead of the blue, the electric blue that I wanted. But
Mm.
like, so my uncle has all that equipment to like make knives and stuff, so I made it. So like I know the steps for knife making more or less, or to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And then as well, the other thing is that's actually, if you look at it, that's a train spike.
Okay.
That so the train spike, and what you do is that you heat up the end that's going to be the knife, and you hammer the fuck out of it to flatten and extend it, and then you put the other end in the head of the nail end, and you get that to where it's the right temperature that it's moldable, and you take it over, you take and put it, you take it over, put it in a vise, like one of those like rotating vices, and then you get this other tool that sort of latches into the hand and just twist. So like think of
Okay.
like handlebars, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's got a little groove in it that'll like latch onto that square underneath the head, and then you start like twisting it. So that's where you see the corkscrew pattern there.
Okay, gotcha.
So like that's more or less like what I did, and this is Melanie's desk that she built like all our own. Like just went to Home Depot,
Mm.
got the wood, got the stain, was
Oh
out
my
and
god.
yeah,
'Cause that's okay. That's like we built a desk too. Like we went to Lowe's for the wood, got two 12-foot pieces of wood, stained them, glued them together. Um, didn't like the color of the stain, so we're gonna restain it and then reseal it and like just put
yeah.
it over two IKEA dressers and like that's literally what I have. But like this is so beautiful. Like
Oh yeah, no,
that's such an even cut. Like that's
yeah.
man.
Well, like I have all the power tools, but it's the funny thing is that she's done more of the carpentry work than me, and it's more out of just like out of need or
Yeah.
desire. So like,
That's so freaking cool, man.
oh
Like
yeah, no, it's
that,
fantastic.
that's
So
sweet.
here's my tool nerd out before we get back to lead. Is that like I have had a power drill forever. Like I got a nice set from my dad, but I've always had an issue with concrete. And then like so he has like a father figure up where he has all of his property and stuff
Hmm.
in sort of like not North Florida, but 2 hours outside of Orlando. And uh, so the old man, his like the guy that was a friend so much that he basically calls him on Father's Day. The guy gave him all these extra wired tools, like, cause all I have is like Ryobi battery powered. So my dad gave me one of everything I already have in terms of like a circular saw, a power drill. I got a jigsaw, so like that one where like there's a little blade dropping
Yeah,
down,
yeah, yeah,
so you can just like sort
yeah.
of freeform. Um, but he also got me a hammer power drill. So concrete is my bitch now, and I'm so excited.
Oh my god, dude. Okay,
So like
well,
that's the
we gotta
dreams.
talk more. We gotta talk more literal shop at some point. But
Oh
just wanted
yeah.
to warn you. So I'm at 23% on my phone. So I'm thinking let's aim for around like 9:30, because that's probably when my phone's gonna get close to dying.
Okay,
Okay.
so let's jump back to
Yeah.
where we at? Where we at? Okay, so G2's gonna get out. What's the toss up between G2's gonna get out? Who's the toss up between Cloud9 and Griffin? Like, who do you think's gonna make like either Cloud9's gonna reverse sweep their ass out, like they did when High was important, or Griffin's just going to maintain. And
I
I really want to give it to Cloud9 that once Svenskeren gets back in, they beat Griffin on macro.
think so. Like they could, but I would still consider an upset. And like it's not like Griffin is like bad at macro. Um, so I think a difference between this Cloud9 and previous iterations of Cloud9 are that like previous iterations of Cloud9 always had this random, consistent, like world level carry threat, and they had multiple of them typically.
Yeah,
And like the only one I would even say is like in that vein is Licorice.
yeah,
At this point, like Sneaky is not gonna carry against any of these teams. Like these like world teams have continued to level up and up and up. Like one of the most fascinating parts of like watching all these games is like seeing how literally like the tiniest thing turns into such a ridiculous advantage. Like you'll see something like, hey, what was it? It was Fun Plus against J Team when they like they found um, they found Zaya in the jungle. Cyan ulted on her, and then found Nautilus, burned his flash, and then like 30 seconds later, they find him in he had just had his flash burned, so they take like Drake and then go over the Baron. Like tiny little thing, right? Um, these teams are too good now, and if you don't have multiple reliable carries, you're fucked.
yeah,
And I don't see that. I only see Licorice. Niski is only good in an A. Like you get him to the world stage, and he's kind of
yeah.
outclassed. And he's against Chovy.
I think
Like,
Niski.
and then like
I think. Yeah, go ahead.
but just like and like Sneaky is just not who he was. Like in the past, you would have like you had the one iteration that had Impact, Jensen, and you had Sneaky still doing really well at Worlds.
Hmm.
That's why they were able to contend up at the higher levels. You had last year you had Licorice and you had Jensen popping the fuck off. Sneaky was probably already in a slight decline, but you had your solo laners like up out there, and it's not just about the laning crowds; it's about the advantage you create through that, and then how the team uses those advantages. Right, that's the big difference between like a team like a Cloud9 and like even if a Hong Kong Attitude got like a big advantage, they wouldn't be able to carry it through. Even if a Clutch Gaming gets a big advantage, they're not good at executing it. Right.
Yeah,
So, but if you don't have those tools to begin with, you're just fucked. That's just a requirement now. It's not optional. So with Cloud9, there's just no one that you really have to be afraid of other than Licorice. No one that you're just like, oh, if we don't take care of them, they're gonna roll over the game. Like it's just Licorice.
I think that's literally because we
So
haven't
I
seen
give it to
Svenskeren in all worlds. I think that's literally like I'm with you on Licorice is the only significant threat. I think Niski has been slightly overhyped and upgraded outside of what he actually is. Like there's are you hearing me
and
clearly?
people just want to make him like a second Durchin. Like
Well, because it's all
what's
there
up?
is left. All that, yeah. Like, okay, I just want to make sure you could hear me and everything. You were breaking up a little bit. Like, I could still hear everything, but it's getting scratchy. Um,
Okay.
I think Niski is a touch overhyped. Like just they just pushed him a little bit closer.
So
They
yeah,
put him into a higher bracket of like 20 levels of bracket, and he's just not never been that clear. Like he was never a standout player all season in the LCS,
no.
and like Svenskaren's been the standard. He's the MVP, and I swear like if Svenskeren is in, they win against everyone but maybe G2. I swear that's probably what the solve
I mean
is.
that would definitely be like the way to do it. I just need to see that.
Well, that's what
And that
makes
could be it.
Cloud9 feels so underhyped right now because we've had nothing but these weak sense of drafts. Sneaky's underperforming. Niski is not magnificently top tier, and Licorice is like trying to carry his heart
Yeah,
out, but like Aatrox can only do so freaking much. And I'm
yeah,
it really frustrates me when people have been playing this game so long. Now that I think about it, where they've been playing the game for almost 10 years, and they make these missed calls like Cloud9 again did against Griffin, where they just pull in their split pusher and just throw in a team fight, like thinking that a flanking Fiora is going to be able to pull
yeah.
it off. And it's like, no, you have it, control it,
They just get nervous.
play out the
Yep.
patient game. Well, like they get nervous, but they have Sneaky there. Like the best thing that's been said about Sneaky all season is that he is their veteran voice that helps keep them calm and keep them focused. How is it that Sneaky and Zazel and Licorice, like all these people that have been to Worlds before, aren't able to like keep Blabber and maybe Niski to chill the fuck out, unless they just got way overhyped on how able they were to run over Griffin and out team fight them with a non-team fight top laner?
I don't know. I don't think they've ever really done this bad at Worlds, other than
Well, it feels bad.
the.
I swear it
Yeah,
feels bad because they've got one win. They're in the toughest group they've ever been in,
yeah,
possibly, because G2 is just unstoppable and Griffin has been hyped as hell for like 2 years. But I
yeah.
swear it always comes down to the fact that like all of their weaknesses, all of their stuff is always shored up by Svenskeren. Like Reaper's throwing in Blabber to hopefully like play the pop off and try to like maybe have Blabber be like their G2 esque, like swirly stuff, but no. So
The I that's a fine point. I still would put Griffin just because I want to bank on what I have seen. The one counter I would say, not to dispute it, but just to add something in there, is to say that like Blabber's skill has been in the early game. Okay, well, I guess I'm kind of like debating my point, but just to sort of finish it out, Blabber's skill has been in the early game, right? So like he's done a decent job of like tracking the other jungler, pressuring the other jungler, like enabling the lanes. And while yes, they haven't capitalized and like made good macro decisions, you should be good enough at this point to take those advantages and run through the game with them. And like I don't see Svenskeren coming in and just being like, I'm gonna be 3 times even better at the early game. I see him being either the same or maybe slightly worse at the early game and just better at like the curve of the game and like better at making decisions, which is impactful, but it's not as if he's going to create even bigger advantages than Blabber was. Like it'll probably be
I'm not
similar.
expecting. No,
And
I'm not expecting Svenskeren unless he's like on a Lee Sin or something like that. But Svenskeren is a much more
yeah,
conservative early game player. Yes, it's that you have to know how to play out the mid late game map work to win, and that
yeah.
if that is solved, they win against Griffin, and we don't have this conversation right now.
Hey, that's totally fair. I still play Griffin, but I do see what you're saying.
Yeah. So, all right, let's go on over
Cool.
to Group B,
All
which I
right,
think
so
we can make Group B really quick
yep.
because FPX is getting out. And so, like, what's the coin toss between J Team, GAM Esports, and Splice? Like, we can just run through who do you think's getting the fuck out of here? Like, part of me wants Splice because they had the genius
Okay.
draft, has me like fanboying them a touch, but I kind of don't care who gets out of
Yeah.
here on second seed.
So I haven't done a deep enough dive on CMJ team since the first game because like I did a deep dive in their first game. Like I took a lot of notes. Like I watched that one pretty carefully, but I haven't watched a lot since. Like I only watched them the one time each. Um, but I really liked what I saw from JT. Like um, Lil V was like a legitimate carry threat. Like he just fucked up LWX the whole game. Like it wasn't just one time. It wasn't just in lane. It wasn't just like one little scrimmage. Like he consistently outperformed him. Like they had like a fight around Drake where OnePlus Phoenix was like set up in a good position to take the Drake, try to take an advantageous position in the game. And Lil V just finds LWX and says, I'm going to duel you, even though you're Kaisa, and I'm gonna destroy you.
Was that that
And then
Ezreal
like that's
Kai'Sa one v
why they
one
ended up
bot
winning that
lane?
team fight.
Was that that one v
Like
was that that
um
1v1 bot lane?
yeah, but like it was like he literally just found him out, and like LWX shouldn't be losing that. Like Lil outplayed him. Like but it was consistent throughout the entire like literally LWX kept diving randomly into the team over and over and just dying. Like
Hmm.
I understand that that might have just been like a one-off like really bad game, but like Lil V was super consistent, like in the team fights, like super consistent, like in lane, like just moving with the team really well. And Hana, their jungler, I feel like makes he has a little bit of like blabberisms where like he can make some late game blunders. Like there was a Drake steal that he went for that he shouldn't have that just like cost them more position on the map. But he's extremely proactive. He really guides the team around. Like I was really impressed with what they did like against FunPlus. Like it was closer than it appeared, but like the reason they got ahead was just because of the smart decisions they made in the early game, and a
Yeah.
lot of that was the back. So I would be more excited to see them going forward. So I guess I'll put them as my second choice. But I also like I need to do a deeper dive on their second, third game to see if that has been super consistent or if that was just like they're playing out of their minds for one game.
Who else did they win against? What was their second
Was it
win?
against Gigabyte
It might have been Gigabyte.
or was it against Splice?
Let's see.
Oh.
Schedule. Let me go. Let me see. Um, who is their second
Tony
FP?
so many games.
So many games. So many games. There's
Yeah.
that. There's that. Where are you? They beat FPX. That was like early
That was,
on.
yeah,
Oh,
that was on
there's.
the first.
Oh, I just want to do an honorable mention on the fact that UOL almost knocked out Splice, and I wanted them to win that. I wanted
Same
Universe. I
here.
wanted Unicorns of Love to win that
My
so
God.
bad.
Same. And then like they get like an honorary spot back into like LEC.
I think
uh,
I want like I wish UOL probably had the finances or whatnot to like bring Forgiven in, and then just Forgiven and Edward just run train through all of Europe.
uh,
God,
that
dude.
would be so.
Where's
Oh
J
my
Team?
gosh!
There
I
it is.
forgot
J
that,
Team beat
man.
Splice. J Team beat Splice. What was that draft? What was that set up for that one?
Did they
Th-
lose to Gigabyte?
they lose to yeah, they lost the game. That was their second game. I think they lost to Gam and they just
Oh
beat
my
Splice.
gosh!
Yeah, this is where they beat Splice with their it was a standard matchup. Oh, that's when Xerxes went in the jungle and they just couldn't get any good kills. Yeah,
Okay.
Splice ran the Xerxes Karthus jungle. They had Psy on top,
Oh, that's right.
and
Sorry.
like
Wait,
the
so
Karthus could
is
not they couldn't get late enough in the game. Like it's
okay. So is 18 2-1 or 1-2?
J Team is 2-1 right now.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
they're currently healthy.
they're doing their thing. Yeah, I would like. I don't know. I at least see upside from like certain members of the team. So like, I'd probably pick J Team as my second choice. Um, I guess like I'll fully admit like that was it's a little bit of my bias just from seeing how exciting it was to see them play against FunPlus and like legitimately beat them out. So I just want to see if they can tap into that a little bit more. So I'll put them as my second pick.
Yeah, I'm looking real quick at the J Team Gam game. Oh, that's one where Gam was running the Nocturne Kled Akali Kaisa, and they just
No,
kept
just
setting up the Baron Trap and River and just running at them repeatedly,
gotcha.
like on cooldown, which was like funny to listen to because
Yeah.
I listened to this throughout my day, but it's just like, and point 0.5 seconds, and he's just gonna Nocturne ult in again. It's like, God damn it, dude.
Yeah. Okay.
Alrighty, Group
So
C.
so what's your yeah?
I can sort of feel you on the J Team. I'm,
Okay.
I think. I think I kind of have to feel for J Team as well because Splice is just not executing this out well, and they're sort of exposed in the fact that like these soon to be like these third world country, these like minor regions are walloping them, and they just couldn't execute properly. Like as much as Game
Yep.
Esports had a very unidimensional strategy against J Team, and that's what got them the victory. You're kind of sitting there like, well, you had a pretty like it's might be a slightly
Like that
high.
wouldn't happen again.
Well, Splice should have been beaten FPX on what was a pretty easy to execute comp. Like you're playing zone
Yep.
control. It's like let them try to come into you and baby cage them. Like, why are you
Nope.
trying to like engage on a fucking Baron call when you don't have like the consistent damage to burn through that fucker?
Teams get so stupid around Baron spends. They forget which champions they have. It's so
Dude,
silly.
do you remember Dignitas?
Yeah.
The days of
Uh,
Dignitas, or like fucking
all the memes.
all
Or
the me.
the legendary Dignitas Renegades game.
Oh, I don't even remember that, but I imagine I
Uh,
imagine I would remember the play for sure.
yeah.
Alrighty, so Group C now, where SKT is the other undefeated one, RNG are 2 and
Oh
1,
yeah.
Fnatic is 1 and 2, and Clutch Gaming are sad. Like,
Clutch Gaming are getting there. They're getting
I appreciate Dominate. I think Cody Sun is the second best ADC in NA.
probably yeah.
I
Which I
real
used to be a Cody Sun hater, but I had to like shut myself up after watching him the second half of the season. Like he actually has become good.
Oh, his Kai'Sa play, like he had the perfect timing every time to come in and just wipe.
And
Every
he's not a he's basically like an ascended wild turtle.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
he's like he's that more aggro AD carry, which like can sometimes get you in trouble, but like he's gotten better at like using it well.
yeah, like he doesn't get caught out as often. The only time he's like backlining and dying for it is because it's a lost fight. He's just maybe trying to
Yeah,
find that one edge out. But but
for
I
sure.
really think Cody's son is going to need to be fought for this next year because and it makes me very curious about the dynamic between him and Afroma and why he left and got that ridiculous leave on. Like I think there's about to be a so did you watch the Summoning Insights with Forgiven and Monty? Because I just watched that today.
Uh,
So Thorin has this
it
idea.
would have been so long here.
Okay, so Thorin has this idea that there's, or this very convinced idea that there's a forgiven curse to where whatever team has shat on and gotten rid of forgiven, you'll notice that they get relegated, they have the shittiest, or they just go away in the next year, like SK, Origin, Copenhagen
Or
Wolves,
yeah,
all that shit. So I think what's about to
yeah.
happen is that we are about to have like the beginnings of a forgiven curse in Cody's son, in that like 100 Thieves shits on him,
Ooh,
has the worst season in like and they just got here, but they have like the best
yeah,
lineup in coming into this season, and they had the shittiest year you've ever seen out of the best lineup. Like it's as bad as
yeah.
TSM's
But the
throw this
least
year.
efficient, like yeah, honestly, potentially even worse.
Yeah.
But like right up there with them.
Well, you had to
Yeah,
bet you when you have to bench a world champion that's not Piglet to try to get better, like that's a freaking problem. Like
yeah. Oh
so
my god.
so I'm really high on Cody Sun going into next year. Like I kind of want either him or Forgiven to go to TSM because Sven's leaving.
I yeah. If Sven doesn't beat leave, then I think Cody Sim would be a good pick, honestly. And I think he would be a consistent threat along here. So that would actually be a pretty scary team if you can get just like a really solid top laner. If you do that, I would say try to ship Broken Blade.
I
Don't
think
keep him
I
at
think
that
Broken
point.
Blade's good. I think they can keep Broken Blade.
But he doesn't work in like in a game. Maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't want a Broken Blade with a Cody Sun and a Beerson. I want someone just super consistent. Like I just want someone I don't have to worry about or think about. Just someone
Poach
who like will
licorice.
do their job.
They,
And
TSM poaches
pretty
licorice.
much,
Like
pretty much like, but Cloud9 would never. They would never let
it's
licorice
Cloud
go. They never
Nine.
should.
Here's what I think Jack does. Jack invites people into the family, and he makes it so good they never want to leave.
Basically, it's like, look, we got
Like
homemade spaghetti. You gotta come over. Like,
I
we
just
got
had spaghetti.
like,
Alrighty,
some
so
white wine that's like 7 years old. Anyway, sorry. The group.
Jesus. So Group C,
Okay, so
I think
I gotta
Fanatics.
say,
I think Fanatics like true power and ability. Like it was very much easily slated that it was Fnatic and G2 fighting top two, like pretty close throughout the LEC and going through the finals. And I think
yeah,
it's becoming very apparent that it's not number one G2 and number two Fnatic. It's number one G2, and then there's like 5 spots in between them, and then there's
yep,
Fnatic, and then there's the rest of the LEC, like another 5 spots below Fnatic. Like
yep,
because Fnatic just they pull up the Garen Yumi and they just get outdrafted so hard, like with
yep.
SKT just outscaling him, and then they have the RNG matchup where they bring out the Garen Yumi again, and I think does Royal give up? Royal Never Give Up do the same thing basically and how they beat them?
I don't
Where's
have their
where's that one?
draft on
Oh,
me right
let me
now.
look. Let me look. Let me look. Let me look at the
Okay.
draft. So what they had? Oh wait, Okay. Oh, this fucking game. I was so pissed about this. I hated this draft. I hated this so much, and you're gonna know why I hate it because Reckless is on Morgana.
Okay, that was the
This is the draft
Morgana.
where I'll give RNG first. RNG has Gnar up top and Lang
Okay, also,
Jiao
I
like
have some thoughts
ran
about
train
Nar,
on
but yeah,
this. You're
sorry.
muted right now, I think. Am I? I'm not muted.
No, you're not
Wait,
muted.
speaker's muted? Hold on. What's muted?
I can hear you.
Did you mute yourself? Did I mute you? Fuck.
Words,
There
things,
we go. Okay, there we go.
words.
Wait, let me check something. Keep talking.
I'm saying words and things. I'm
Oh,
saying
okay,
them.
okay. I
Things.
muted my headset. I couldn't hear you, but the stream could hear you. I'm retarded.
Okay, everything's fine.
Okay, so it
Um,
was Lengzhu with if I'm saying that right, I apologize. On the Nar, Karsa on Rek'Sai, Zhao Hu on the Rise, Uziai on Zaya, and Ming on the Karma. And in their infinite wisdom, Fnatic bring out a Shen for Bwipo, a Lee Sin for Broxah, Nemesis is their only carry with the Kale, and Reckless is on Morgana with Hylissang on fucking Blitzcrank because they didn't get the Pike.
that's so. Oh yeah, that's. I remember because I remember this game came out and Thorin tweeted, even Fnatic doesn't think Reckless is an elite tier ADC. Uh, I was like, oh, God.
He hasn't played a standard AD carry for months now, it feels
No,
like.
just saying. But God, that seems like a nightmare. Okay, wait. Can I just say real quick rant about Nar? Okay, he's randomly like come back as like a power pick again. Like he's pretty much everywhere amongst like every team, and I'm really sick of teams picking Nar and having no idea how to play around him. Like it's like they were just told by their analyst all at once, like, "Hey, play Nar because he's good," and none of them have like actually played him in like 2 years since he was actually strong, and it's really baffling to see because like teams do not set up like enough vision to get him a good flank. They like watching Clutch play Nar was like absolutely painful, and like you see this like amongst most of the teams now. I don't know if like my theory. I don't know if this is true or not, but I feel like teams are too good and perceptive now to fall prey to Meganar as often as they used to.
Yeah.
Much the same way that like you can run like a strat in like silver or gold elo, but then when you get to platinum and diamond, people are like, "Yeah, I've seen that." Like you're
Yeah.
not actually going to be able to 5 mana Mumu ult every single time.
Yeah, it's the
Um,
simplest thing of just like it's just waiting it out. Like
yeah, and like
like
teams are too good at doing that now. Like
yeah.
I
Like
never
the
see.
discipline level is so high that like it's
Yep,
very easy to recognize. Oh wait, he's now Big Nar. We don't do anything for the next 30 seconds, and then we roll him.
yep, exactly. And like teams A aren't good enough to like really execute super hard on it, and B other teams are too good at like playing against it. So like you would
Yeah.
need like a Nar specialist. You would need a team that's been playing Nar for like 6 months in order to like really make this pick worth it. And I'm really sick of seeing it because it just feels like they're just saying, "Oh, we want a tank that is sometimes ranged."
Yeah.
But like split pusher's still destroying because his base stats are garbage. Like he's good in lane, but then like he'll get destroyed later.
Yeah.
Like his base stats as like mini Nar are garbage, and then like he's too easy to play around as Mega Nar. So like I
Well, that's where
honestly
like
I
you
would
need the
rather.
like the next like the two things you need to have happen for the Gnar to go off is either it happens mid fight and like you're not the one getting engaged on like you have a first form of engagement and the Gnar is like the
Yeah,
closing CC, or you
yeah, I
have
agree.
really good vision control and you let the baby Gnar or the Mega Gnar come in from behind and flank.
Mhm.
That's like
Yep.
the two
And teams
situations that
teams teams are not doing that. They're doing neither of those things. They're banking all of their engage on Gnar because they're just picking either a bunch of weird non-engaged tanks or a bunch of hyperscalers that
or they
don't
have
have
just
any
Thresh Hook
engage.
to try to engage.
Yeah, then
And
that's not
like
an engage.
we're
Like
well we just don't see those thresh plays anywhere because like I don't think he's either not in rotation enough for people to be good enough at him. Like we've only had I think there's only one big thresh standout play that I saw all year in the LCS, and that was when Smoothie had the one like point and click game for TSM, like the
yeah,
only good hype game for them because like I think he just had like a really good game on it and you hadn't seen it in forever. That was
yeah.
the only reason. And
Okay.
like
I
yeah,
will say I am so sorry. My phone is now down to 9%, so we're gonna have to power through this.
yeah, power through. Okay, so RNG or Fnatic to make it out. I have to default to RNG, and I just don't think Fnatic is going. Fnatic has to like rebound their entire damn lives. Like
yeah,
today they need to be going to like they need to be just like going to a ritual, going to a spa, like meditating, smoking something, smoking some special like Parisian hash to like get their shit together. Like
I would default to RNG as well. I don't think correctness is falling off a bit, and then like the scariest player on Fnatic right now is Nemesis,
and he's a rookie.
and
This is his
yeah,
first year.
yeah, and that's crazy. And I just see RNG finding a way to clutch it out essentially. So yeah, I would
Yeah.
go with that too.
Yeah, unfortunately RNG. All right, so Group D, Damwon is right now. Like it's actually this is the I don't this is nothing has actually
The
happened
rock
other
paper scissors. Yeah.
yeah, basically.
Yeah,
Okay, so
basically.
to just get this out of the way
Wait,
before your phone dies, because
yeah.
when your phone dies, I'll cut the stream.
Okay.
I'll just call it then. So is it Damwon who takes first seed? Damwon, Liquid, or IG?
I go IG first seed, TL second seed.
Okay. I think TL's gonna shape up after they almost got flattened by HQ. Like the two interviews that I've loved the most is the Perks and the Double Lift interviews that happened,
Yeah.
where Double Lift was like not, he knew he wasn't he obviously said he wasn't flaming, but he had such good quick analysis of the game afterwards as well as Perks did. So I think TL's about to like ramp up,
No,
and
and
I expect them to
TL,
come through and get their shit together.
yeah, TL do so. Okay, the game from with like TL and Damwon. Let me quickly just go to my notes because that's the only way I actually remember things now.
Well, that's the one where they
Both.
showed hyper discipline after they got a lead and then they just ran them.
Yep.
And they only lost
Yep.
against IG because they got baited by the Vlad and the Oriana ball wiped them.
Yep. Yeah. They the forever enemy of Team Liquid will be Vladimir in every way possible. Okay, so if we're looking at Damwon TL, also I don't understand the Syndra priority when no one seems to be that great at Syndra. Like
It's because of the
Syndra's
power.
like pick,
Syndra provides an incredible amount of wave control for bot lane because she'll clear the wave faster than any ADC will early on, as well as that it's just point and click and die.
okay, that's fair. So like simple good power, that's
Yeah,
fair.
and her CC is pretty easy to execute and really good follow, and it's easy to follow it up.
Okay, that's fair. Um, okay, so for Liquid we had Kaisa as a priority, and let's see, was Zaya was banned, so they went with a Kaisa on first rotation. Damwon wanted Gragas so that they can set up their solo laners. Which like it is interesting to see in a lot of the picks and bans, like the different priority in blue side, because like you'll see solo lane based teams like prioritize junglers. You'll see bot lane based teams prioritize either strong supports or strong AD carry picks. Like you've seen first pick Zaya, first pick Yumi, but then on every solo lane based team, you'll see like Gragas, you'll see Lisa, and something like that. So going on to what Liquid ended up doing.
Oh, but that Damwon game was also when they were running like the Yasuo Gragas combo with like a Veigar bot, like so they were running like ridiculous, like
Yep.
silly stuff, and I think that's where it sort of let us underestimate or to sort of start to clown on the overhypeness of Damwon. So it's really more of like we haven't had a standard versus standard matchup yet between Team Liquid and Damwon,
Yep.
and I think Damwon just couldn't execute well enough on this kind of debauchery of a comp.
Yeah. Honestly. Sorry, just reading through what it.
Yeah.
It's okay. It looks like something I have been impressed with a lot of teams is what big advantages they make through just priority, and I think Liquid did a really great job of like using their mid priority of like the matchup of because Jensen did like even though he got punished that one time, he still pressured Yasuo out of lane a lot, and they're able to create advantages out of that.
Yeah.
And then like Impact like obviously was a monster, but like I think Liquid wins that game whether Impact makes that play or not. Honestly.
Yeah, like that play there in the bot Tribush, like really pushed it over, but they were already sort of on their way. Like it was like a 51-49 and leaning, and then that just puts it over to like a 60-40, 75-25.
And they actually had like a solid game plan. They actually were like manipulating waves really well and setting up the Baron to where like there's a difference between like fuck just force Baron, just do it and make them fight, and what a lot of the more advanced teams will do, which is like setting up the entire map against you to where like you have no other option other to engage in us because if you don't, you're losing tons of experience, tons of gold, like
Yeah.
and like all this damage on your turrets. So you're gonna lose either way. And then if you come in here, we're set up to kill you. So I think Liquid, like what you said, like they're incredibly disciplined in their play. I think Liquid will continue to get better because they've shown in the past that they're not the strongest at like the one-off games,
Mm-hmm.
and that if they can kind of just control like the sloppy tendencies every once in a while, I think they can continue to go. I think what Thornton said is true as well. I just cannot see them actually winning everything. I think eventually they do get outskilled, but I say with full confidence that I would not be surprised at all if Liquid places like top four.
Yeah. No, I believe they can do that.
Like
It's just more of like they can't have the sloppiness and especially like for getting bans and shit or not being able to get their
so,
communication across.
apparently, what
If that
happened
ban
was
goes
they
if
tried to ban.
if that ban goes through and they
So
actually
that
get rumble,
yeah,
yeah. If that ban
they
goes
so
through,
they
that
tried
game is won easy.
yeah they tried to ban Rumble, but because of a language situation, they weren't able to.
Yeah. I knew that one. Yeah. Whether like because like there's
Which
been
is
issues like there's that Ramus issue before, which is literally like the server was in English and not Korean, so they couldn't
yep,
even know how to search for it. That's why the Ramus came up in that one thing way long ago. So like
yeah,
if that Ramus isn't if that ban actually goes through, I don't think AHQ has a chance in that game.
yep.
I don't think it's anywhere near
No,
what it
absolutely.
was because like the amount of AoE that comes in with like those three champions was just monstrous. Like I sat there like listening to it like in someone's backyard doing my termite work, going like, how the fuck are they gonna do this when like Kiana is the most
Yep,
broken character next to Yumi right now with just like blowing fuckers up pre-6, like
yep.
no chance.
So much priority on that champion is absolutely insane.
Yeah. Well,
But yeah,
apparently there's been one
I think
Pantheon game and I have no idea where it is. I think it's back in play-ins.
what? Who actually let that?
I
Because
need it.
I don't even know what new Pantheon does, but I know that every team is terrified of Pantheon.
The big thing that was pointed out is that there is no trade pattern with him because
Oh,
his kit makes it impossible to trade back. And you can
wow.
proc that like 5 stack empowered ability like twice in a
Yeah,
row. So like you just there is no trade with him. He just wins.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's basically as oppressive as old Pantheon, but you have to use more skill to do it.
Yeah. Well, like
Um,
the only sort of mitigation old Pantheon had was just like you could block like an auto attack.
mm,
Otherwise, like there was a certain amount of you could trade, but because he's invulnerable with his E because it's like spiky and that he's got the stun, he's got the poke with the Q, and when there's certain ones are empowered, they will add on more. They'll add back in to the empowering of his next ability. So
mm,
like there's a certain amount of like I remember when I was just playing him, I was playing against him and we were just like mid game roaming around and I was like, where's the window to actually do damage on this fucking character?
mm.
Because like he's
Okay,
a
yep,
little bit
doesn't exist.
and then he's like running away stabbing you with like his infinity shield in front of him, not taking any damage, and you're just like, what's this dick shit? Like
um, okay, so I'm down to one of my last objectives.
you're on
Oh,
IGTL taking it out with IG first seed?
yeah, I think IG are starting to remember who they are. Um,
Yeah. It's the world's
not that
buff, man.
yeah, yeah, and like Rookie finally coming back to form. I think that IG's most exploitable weakness is that their jungler isn't particularly impressive. So like they set up their advantages purely through their solo lane talent rather than the jungler facilitating them. So if a team can balance that out and have the jungler compensate for some of that talent, because their talent is insane.
Yeah.
And that might be what gives like SKT an advantage over like IG because you do have Quid just being a fucking monster. Um, but so it's not like TL couldn't beat IG, especially in a best of five. They may be able to find a way, but I do see IG as just a little bit stronger right now.
Yeah, I mean, unless TL picks like Skarner, and then they should win the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, honestly, secret power pick.
Yeah,
Um,
super fire pick.
yeah.
Yeah,
Eh.
no.
I'm so sorry that I can't talk more tonight.
Oh, you're fine.
just
You're.
happening. I
I'm.
literally haven't been home, so my phone just kind
I,
of started at like 40%.
I am so happy to have done all this work to learn how to do all this shit. Like basically what they do, what all these other people that we watch do. Because I've been wanting to be able to do that as much as I want to do like in-person podcasts.
Yeah.
Knowing that I'm gonna be moving to Austin in like probably even less than 6 months, depending on how things go. Knowing that I can still do like these esports podcasts, my personal podcast with Jailhouse Parlor, um, lets me know that I know how to set it up, and so I can still do these long form interviews and podcasts that I want to do, even though I
Yeah.
won't initially know anyone that I can have local for having local people, so to speak. So I'll still be able to
Hey
have
man,
like
Sneaky graduated high school with my girlfriend, um, and dated
he
one of
was
her
he.
best friends.
What the fuck? Isn't he from Florida?
Winter
Yeah,
Springs
yeah, yeah. He's
2012.
from Winter Springs. I remember when I
Yep.
realized that I was like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, my
What?
friend like
Where did he go
played
to?
like
Didn't he go
Xbox
to
Live
like?
with him back
Didn't
in
he
the
go to
day.
X? Didn't he go to Lake Howell?
No, Winter Springs.
Winter Springs. Okay, Winter Springs High. Yeah.
He
Get the
graduated
fuck.
Winter Springs 2012.
Yeah,
So
I
like
feel like
we
he's.
can get there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and hang up just so I can still
Yep. Yep.
get
Yep.
my girlfriend to come pick me up. Um, but thank you for this. Next time I want to be even more prepared, have even more research done, um, and like I would
Either
love to
have
go
you
even longer
either
for a
have
month.
you in studio or have a battery pack or have a computer to like chat on, basically.
Yeah, no, essentially. But like this is awesome. Like I love being like I could literally talk for the next like 8 hours straight with you on all this shit right now. So like we
I
got
think
more to talk
I
about.
think you and I are the only two people, only other person we know locally that we can talk league with, which
Yeah,
has been very sad for the past 10 years. I think because I went from a lot of friends, and then right around like 2000 fucking 18 or something like that, a lot of people fell out of like watching these.
honestly, between like 16 to 18 ish, and I think that's
Yeah.
when they just didn't have yeah. Um,
So
but we'll catch up on this again. I'll
we'll message. We'll
we'll
figure out the next episode and everything.
yep.
Kick it.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Very sad for the past 10 years, I think, because I went from a lot of friends, and then right around like 2000. Oh god, no. 18 or something like that, a lot of people fell out of like watching these.
Honestly, between like 16 to 18 ish, and I think that's
Yeah.
when they just didn't have yeah. Um,
So
but we'll catch up on this again.